Okay, so now we're looking at our cores. Anytime we have a PMA replacement with one of our heaters for these old Southwinds, we typically keep at least the best cores. By the best core, we need anything that has serviceable parts on the outside. Justin here did a investigation of the cores that we have. We have hundreds of cores in the back. Maybe Justin, you can let us know what you found back there as far as the Southwind cores and the failures.
As far as the Southwind cores, we found cracking in about 65% of our core stock in the back, mainly around the crossover section, around the welds on the end in this area.
Okay, and so that's the most typical point of failure is that crossover. We have all different designs here. We have 8259, 8472s, which are the pressurized version, and the 8240s, the alphas. These are the really old versions of these combustion heaters. If you can key in here a little bit, you'll see one of the main things that we find as a problem is being repaired or being welded. Now, our combustion heaters and the Janitrol combustion heaters all stipulate that you cannot repair a combustion tube by welding one that's already been in service. That stipulation is not on the Southwind. So there's a lot of these combustion tubes you'll actually see that have been repaired. I call it a booger weld. I don't know what everybody else calls it, but you can see here where a lot of times, like even this one, it looks like it was welded probably with a coat hanger and a acetylene torch, trying to patch these combustion tubes. Problem with that is it's like welding a new patch on an old muffler, and that patch will just fall right off after a while because the metal expands and contracts at different rates. That new metal expands and contracts at a different rate than the old metal that you're trying to repair. So anytime you try to weld on a can that's already had time in service, that patch is not going to hold. I don't think we mentioned either that the combustion tube that was on our test bench, as far as we can tell, we did not get the hours of time in service from the unit, but as far as we can tell, there's maybe 300 hours on that combustion tube. And am I right, that one had cracks at the crossover?
Yes.
Okay. So the failure had already happened at 300 hours. Well, the TBO is 1,000 hours, and that doesn't even necessarily make you have to do a pressure decay test unless you dig for 810909. So this heater at 300 hours never even made it halfway to TBO, let alone at TBO, they're really not told that they have to do a pressure decay test. So this thing could have gone 1,000 hours with a complete failure to combustion tube. And after about 1,200 more hours, you are going to start to see endomes start to rot and fall out. So that's all of our different designs that we have. We have replacements for all of these. But you'll look at all these crossovers, and we're going to show you some detailed pictures now of what the failures in the crossovers look like. All right, so we should do maybe the tubes that are out.
We can do tubes that are out, and we can do some close-ups of these, whichever ones.
All right, you got your flashlight, you want to do that? So you can come over. So you show the cracks. You might want to do it handheld as well. You can zoom in and stuff. He's going to point to a crack and turn it and show you. And then I'll do the new tube, what the advantages are of the combustion tubes that we make. Oh, that's one cut in half too. Yeah, that's a good one. Maybe we should start with that first.
Oops, I'm just one.
Wherever you want to go. Okay.
So let's start with that.
Yeah. Jeremy's just so tall.
So if you want to come up here and look at it, I don't know if you
Yeah, you probably need.
I can zoom.
I'll do that part real quick.
I can zoom all the way to see that car almost as a full screen. So.
Okay. Just yeah, I mean we could just show them the halves. Yeah. Right on. Okay. So here we have a basic combustion tube for the Southwind heater, probably an 8259 that this came out of, that we've cross-sectioned. And in here you can kind of see what the burn does. Stainless steel is a great metal actually for combustion tubes. They will last if they're treated properly and the fuel pressure is proper and everything is working properly. They can make TBO no problem. And this one shows the cross-section of the actual crossover for the combustion tube. So air comes in here, here's the spark plug, air comes in, shoots straight down, hits a spark, the fuel hits the spark here, you start to, the fuel is atomized, so it creates the burn. Most of the burn happens down in this portion. You see a lot of carbon buildup in here. It's because you really don't have a burn up here in the mixer area. The burn is happening down in the burn chamber. And the way the Southwind is designed is it has a full-length crossover that runs the full length of the main portion of the burn chamber. The problem with this design, as we have found, is metal obviously expands and contracts at different rates. So if you have bends in your metal, you have different, you have folds in the metal, you have a lot of things going on, you have different levels of welding, there's a lot more welding on this. The problem with this combustion tube, mainly, and why they fail so quick many times, is because they're not expanding and contracting at the same rate. This end here, this whole side of the combustion heater, does not expand and contract as fast as this side does because of the buildup of metal. Does that make sense? All right. Fine, you can do your thing, Bob.
Okay.
Should be fine.
You can come and zoom in.
Go ahead.
On the top, you mean?
Yeah.
So explain what you're showing and what you're seeing. Explain the tube where it's out of. You know, you got an 8472 sitting there.
This is another example of a Southwind tube out of an 82 or 84, 82, what is it?
8250.
8259. And this is a typical failure of the 65%, as was mentioned earlier, of where they fail on the tube is at these welds at the end of the tube. If we zoom in here, you can see a good example of this crack here. It runs at least an inch across there, and then again on the other side, it starts here and runs all the way out to here. And that is a failure. Will fail pressure decay test. And again, right here on this one, this is actually a pressurized unit. This one actually has a major failure here on this crack. As you can see, it comes across, starts here and comes all the way across. And then this one is actually separated here, and it comes all the way across here. So this is definitely a failure.